From world numismatic finds to the thrill of uncovering hidden treasures in everyday change, today we turn our attention to the fascinating world of UK decimal coinage and explore the top 5 rare coins that continue to excite collectors across Britain. In this feature, we take a closer look at the UK 2 pence coins from 1996 in circulating condition, 1990 with visible scratches, 1997 showing signs of corrosion, 1993 in a dirty state, and 1998 preserved in fine condition. Struck by the Royal Mint and bearing the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, these copper-plated steel and bronze pieces may appear ordinary at first glance, yet each carries its own story of design, history, and collector appeal. Whether well-worn from decades of use or carefully kept in better condition, these coins remind us that even humble pocket change can hold a special place in the rich heritage of British numismatics. Let's get started up with the 1990 UK 2 pence coin. At first glance, especially when it carries visible scratches from years of circulation, it might not seem particularly special. But in the world of numismatics, even a well-worn coin can carry a story, character, and surprising desirability. If you've ever tipped out a jar of old coppers and spotted a 1990 date, you may want to pause before spending it. The 1992p was issued during the reign of Elizabeth II, a monarch whose portrait has appeared on British coinage for decades, making her one of the most recognizable figures in numismatic history. During this period, the United Kingdom was under the leadership of Margaret Thatcher, and the country was experiencing significant political and economic change. Coins from this era represent more than just monetary value. They reflect a distinct chapter in modern British history. The reverse design features the badge of the Prince of Wales, with its distinctive feathers and coronet, a powerful symbol of heritage and identity within the United Kingdom. Physically, the 1992p coin has clear and consistent specifications. It weighs 7.12 grams and measures 25.9 millimeters in diameter. Composed primarily of bronze during that era, it has a warm, rich tone when in fine condition, although examples with scratches often show darker patina and areas of surface wear. Scratches typically result from years of movement against other coins, but in many cases they add to the authenticity and visible history of the piece. Rather than diminishing interest, moderate wear can actually confirm genuine circulation, something many collectors appreciate. When we talk about key facts, it's important to understand that millions of these coins were struck in 1990, as the 2p denomination was essential for everyday transactions. However, survival in collectible condition varies. While mint state examples are more sought after, scratched circulating pieces are becoming harder to find in attractive, original bronze composition due to later changes in metal content in the 1990s. This gives earlier bronze issues, including 1990, an added layer of appeal. Collectors assembling full-date runs of decimal bronze coinage often actively search for clean yet authentic circulated examples from this period. Rarity in the strictest sense may not apply in terms of mintage numbers, but demand plays a powerful role in the coin market. A scratched 1992p coin that still retains clear details in the portrait and reverse feathers can command surprising attention. In today's collector's market, average circulated examples might typically sell for modest amounts, but high-demand listings and enthusiastic bidding have reportedly pushed certain highlighted pieces into impressive figures. Some online sellers promote exceptional examples for as high as $1,200, $2,500, or even over $5,000, which in numbers translates to $1,200, $2,500, and $5,000 respectively. While these figures often reflect speculative or promotional listings rather than confirmed auction records, they illustrate the excitement and perceived potential surrounding collectible decimal coins. Condition remains a defining factor. A scratched coin with strong remaining detail, minimal corrosion, and an even tone can still be highly desirable. Deep gouges or heavy damage reduce appeal, but light surface marks consistent with age are considered normal. In fact, some collectors prefer coins that show honest wear rather than artificially brightened surfaces. Authenticity and originality are key. The growing global interest in British decimal coinage, especially among overseas collectors who value pieces from the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, has strengthened demand in international markets where prices are often quoted in US dollars. For those considering building a collection, the 1992p offers an accessible yet intriguing starting point. Always examine the coin under good lighting. Look closely at the portrait for clarity in the hair detail and the lettering around the rim. On the reverse, check that the feathers and motto remain crisp despite scratches. Avoid cleaning the coin, as cleaning can drastically reduce collector value. Store it in a dry environment, ideally in a protective holder, to prevent further wear or oxidation. If you believe you have an exceptional example, consider professional grading to enhance buyer confidence. There is a strong psychological element in the coin market. Everyday denominations that once seemed insignificant often gain renewed attention decades later. As older bronze issues gradually disappear from circulation, nostalgia and scarcity perception increase demand. The 1992 piece stands as a reminder that even humble pocket change can transform into a conversation piece and potentially a high-value collectible when market enthusiasm builds. In the end, the scratched 1990 UK 2p coin represents more than 2 pennies of spending power. It carries history from a defining era of British life, bears the portrait of a monarch who shaped modern coinage, and continues to attract interest in today's dynamic collector's market. Whether valued at a few dollars or promoted at figures in the thousands, its real worth lies in its story, heritage, and the excitement it generates among collectors worldwide. Before dismissing that scratched bronze coin in your change, take a closer look. You might be holding a small but compelling piece of British numismatic history. Next up, the 1997 UK 2p coin. At first glance, especially in a corroded condition, it might seem like nothing more than an old copper coin pulled from the bottom of a drawer. But in the world of numismatics, even a weathered coin can carry history, character, and, in certain cases, surprising value. If you have ever wondered whether that worn 2p coin sitting in your change jar could be worth more than face value, this is the story you need to hear. The 1997 2p coin was issued by the Royal Mint during a time when the United Kingdom was entering a period of political and cultural transition. 1997 was the year of a general election that brought Tony Blair to power, marking the beginning of a new era often referred to as New Labour. It was also a year remembered for the profound national moment following the passing of Princess Diana. Coins from this year circulated widely across the country, quietly witnessing these historic events as they changed hands in shops, markets, and transport stations. The design of the 1997 2p coin reflects continuity and tradition. On the obverse, it features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, a symbol of stability during decades of change. The reverse displays the badge of the Prince of Wales, complete with feathers and the German motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. This emblem connects the coin to centuries of British royal heritage, reinforcing the deep cultural symbolism embedded in even the smallest denominations of UK currency. Every detail on this coin, even when dulled by corrosion, still carries that historic identity. In terms of physical specifications, the 1997 UK 2p coin weighs 7.12 grams and measures 25.9 millimeters in diameter. It is made from copper-plated steel, which explains why corrosion can sometimes appear more noticeable if the outer copper layer has been compromised. In circulated and especially corroded condition, you may see dark patches, greenish spotting, or surface pitting. While many would see this as damage, collectors often view such features as evidence of real circulation history, proof that the coin genuinely served its purpose in everyday British life. Now, let's talk about rarity and demand. Officially, the 1997 2p coin was produced in large numbers for circulation, making it common in standard condition. However, certain variations, unusual striking errors, or coins preserved despite environmental exposure can create niche collector interest. In recent years, online marketplaces have seen heightened excitement around 1990s UK coins, with sellers marketing them as rare finds. Even corroded examples have attracted attention when linked to error types or low survival narratives. The demand is driven not only by scarcity but by nostalgia, as collectors who grew up in the 1990s seek tangible reminders of that decade. When discussing market value, it is important to approach the topic realistically yet positively. In ordinary circulated and corroded condition, a 1997 2p coin typically holds modest collector value, often close to face value. However, the online market has occasionally seen listings claiming dramatic figures. Some sellers have advertised 1997 2p coins for astonishing sums such as $1,200, $2,500, or even $4,000, presenting them as rare treasures. While such figures do not reflect standard catalog valuations, they demonstrate the powerful perception of rarity in the digital marketplace. In numerical terms, you may encounter listings priced at $1,200 US, $2,500 US, or $4,000 US, especially when accompanied by bold claims of scarcity or minting anomalies. These high figures generate excitement and highlight how presentation and storytelling can influence perceived worth. For collectors, the key lies in understanding condition and authenticity. A corroded coin should be examined carefully to determine whether the surface damage is purely environmental or whether it conceals an unusual minting characteristic. It is always wise to compare details such as lettering sharpness, alignment, and edge integrity. Storing coins in dry, temperature-stable environments can prevent further corrosion and preserve whatever detail remains. Even a coin with visible wear can become a talking point in a themed collection focusing on late 20th century British currency. The cultural value of the 1997 2p coin should never be underestimated. It represents a snapshot of Britain at the end of the 20th century, a period filled with political shifts, social change, and technological growth. Every time you hold one, you are holding a piece of that era. The fact that many examples show signs of corrosion simply means they traveled through countless hands, from corner shops to bus fares, playing a quiet role in daily life. In conclusion, the UK 2 pence coin from 1997 in corroded condition may not appear glamorous, yet it carries history, symbolism, and surprising market curiosity. While realistic values remain modest in most cases, the enthusiasm surrounding 1990s UK coinage has created moments where prices soar into the thousands of dollars in advertised listings. Whether valued at just a few cents above face value or boldly listed at $3,000, its true worth lies in the story it tells. Before dismissing that worn copper coin, take a closer look. You might just be holding a small but meaningful fragment of modern British heritage, and in today's vibrant collector market, even the humblest coin can spark remarkable interest. Next up, the 1993 UK 2 pence coin. At first glance, especially in a dirty and heavily circulated condition, it may seem like nothing more than a tired old copper coin pulled from the bottom of a drawer. But seasoned collectors know that sometimes the most unassuming pieces can carry surprising stories, fascinating heritage, and in certain cases, eye-catching market demand. So before you dismiss that worn 2p from 1993, you may want to look a little closer. The 1993 2 pence coin was issued by the Royal Mint during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. This was a period when Britain was adjusting to economic shifts in the early 1990s, and everyday coinage played a vital role in daily transactions across the country. The obverse of the coin features the elegant portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maclouf, while the reverse displays the iconic badge of the Prince of Wales, 3 ostrich feathers emerging from a coronet, above the motto, Ich Dien. This powerful symbol connects the coin to centuries of royal tradition and Welsh heritage, giving even a humble 2p a deeper cultural significance. In terms of specifications, the 1993 2p coin weighs 7.12 grams and measures 25.9 millimeters in diameter. It is composed of bronze, giving it that rich reddish-brown tone when in clean condition. However, many examples found today are darkened, stained, or heavily soiled due to years of circulation. Dirt, oxidation, and environmental exposure often create uneven coloring, sometimes almost blackened surfaces. While many assume this ruins the value, in the collector's world, condition tells a story. A dirty coin is evidence of circulation, and sometimes untouched surfaces can be preferable to harsh cleaning, which can damage the original patina and reduce collectible appeal. Now, let's talk about rarity and demand. Official mintage figures for 1993 were not exceptionally low compared to some key dates, but what drives excitement today is the increasing interest in 1990s British decimal coinage. Collectors are now actively searching through change jars and inherited collections for coins from this era, especially those that show unusual striking characteristics, die variations, or minting errors. Even a standard 1993 2p in dirty condition can attract attention if it shows strong detail, sharp lettering, or any slight anomaly. In today's collector market, ordinary circulated examples might trade for modest amounts. However, there have been enthusiastic online listings where sellers have advertised 1993 2p coins for astonishing sums. Some have been listed at $2,000, which is approximately $2,000, others at $3,500, and in some speculative cases even $5,000. While these figures represent ambitious asking prices rather than confirmed sales in most cases, they highlight the growing buzz around classic decimal coins. In exceptional circumstances, particularly if a coin displays a striking error or remains in unusually well-preserved condition despite surface dirt, values can climb dramatically among competitive buyers. Culturally, the 2 pence coin is deeply embedded in British life. It has passed through millions of hands, used in corner shops, bus fares, charity tins, and childhood sweet purchases. The early 1990s marked a transitional era in the UK economy, and coins like this were silent witnesses to that history. For many collectors, owning a 1993 2p is not just about potential financial gain, but about holding a tangible piece of Britain's everyday past. For collectors considering adding this coin to their collection, there are several practical considerations. First, resist the temptation to clean a dirty coin aggressively. Cleaning can strip away original surfaces and drastically reduce desirability. Instead, store it in a dry, protective holder to prevent further corrosion. Secondly, examine the coin carefully under magnification. Look for doubled lettering, off-center strikes, or unusual texture differences. Thirdly, compare the portrait details and rim integrity, as strong definition often increases perceived value. Lastly, keep an eye on market trends, because interest in 1990s decimal coinage continues to rise steadily. The growing enthusiasm for British decimal coins has created an environment where even humble denominations are being re-evaluated. Collectors are increasingly aware that today's everyday coin can become tomorrow's sought-after piece. A dirty 1993 UK 2 pence coin may not look glamorous, but beneath that layer of age lies royal symbolism, historical context, and surprising market energy. So next time you come across a 1993 2p tucked away in an old purse or coin jar, do not overlook it. Examine it carefully, appreciate its design, and understand its place in British monetary history. In the world of numismatics, value is not always about shine. Sometimes it is about story, scarcity perception, and collector demand. And as interest continues to build, even this modest bronze coin could become one of the most talked about small denominations in modern UK collecting circles. At last travel back to 1998, a fascinating year in modern British coinage, and take a closer look at the UK 2 pence coin struck in that year, especially in fine condition. At first glance, it may seem like an ordinary piece of small change, easily overlooked in a jar or tucked away in a drawer. But collectors across Britain and beyond have started to re-examine late 1990s decimal coins, and the 1998 2 pence is gaining attention for its condition sensitivity and strong nostalgic appeal. What many once dismissed as everyday currency is now being discussed in collector circles with growing excitement and serious interest. The 2 pence coin forms part of the decimal system introduced on Decimal Day in 1971 under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. By 1998, Britain had fully embraced decimal currency, and the 2 pence piece had become a familiar presence in daily transactions. The obverse of the 1998 coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley, whose effigy was introduced that same year, replacing the earlier portrait by Raphael Maklauf. This detail alone makes the 1998 issue particularly significant, as it represents the beginning of a new portrait era in modern British coinage. For collectors, first-year portrait coins often carry additional appeal, especially when preserved in fine condition. On the reverse, the coin displays the badge of the Prince of Wales, 3 ostrich feathers emerging from a coronet, accompanied by the motto, Ich Dien. This emblem has long symbolized the heir apparent to the British throne and carries deep cultural resonance within the United Kingdom. The design connects modern pocket change to centuries of royal tradition, giving even a humble copper-plated steel coin a sense of continuity with Britain's constitutional history. Coins like the 1998 2 pence serve not only as currency but as miniature historical documents, reflecting the monarchy, heraldry, and national identity. In terms of physical specifications, the 1998 2 pence coin weighs approximately 7.12 grams and measures 25.9 millimeters in diameter. By that year, the composition had changed from bronze to copper-plated steel, making 1998 one of the earlier years of this new metallic standard. The shift in metal content marked an important production development at the Royal Mint, aimed at cost efficiency while maintaining the familiar copper appearance. For collectors, understanding the change in composition adds another layer of interest, particularly when assessing condition and long-term preservation. A coin described as being in fine condition retains moderate detail with even wear across high points, yet still shows clear design features and legible inscriptions. In the case of the 1998 2 pence, a fine example will display visible feather detail on the reverse and a clear outline of the Queen's portrait without heavy scratches or corrosion. Because copper-plated steel coins can be vulnerable to rust if damaged, finding a 1998 piece in attractive fine condition without spotting or edge damage is becoming more desirable. Condition plays a powerful role in modern coin valuation, and well-preserved pieces from transitional years often outperform expectations. Although millions were struck for circulation, the growing trend of collectors seeking complete portrait sets and transitional metal issues has increased demand. Enthusiasts assembling collections of first-year portrait coins are actively searching for 1998 examples that remain in strong condition. As interest rises, so too does speculation about market value. While standard circulated examples may still trade at modest sums, select fine or superior examples are now being discussed online with ambitious valuations. Some speculative listings and collector conversations have suggested values reaching into the thousands of dollars for exceptional, eye-appealing specimens, with figures such as $2,000, $3,500, and even $5,000 being quoted in enthusiastic collector markets. In numeric terms, that translates to $2,000, $3,500, and $5,000 US respectively. These high figures typically reflect premium presentation, flawless surfaces, or unique buyer interest rather than everyday trade prices, yet they demonstrate the strong excitement surrounding well-kept examples. The cultural significance of a 1998 2-pence coin extends beyond monetary speculation. It represents late 1990s Britain, a period of social change, technological growth, and renewed national confidence. Coins from this era passed through countless hands, witnessing ordinary life across the United Kingdom. For many collectors, the appeal lies not only in potential financial return but in the nostalgia attached to pre-millennium Britain. Holding a 1998 coin in fine condition is like holding a preserved fragment of that moment in time. For collectors considering adding this coin to their holdings, careful examination is essential. Look closely at the edges for any sign of rust beneath the copper plating. Check that the portrait details remain crisp and that the reverse feathers are not overly flattened. Storing the coin in a dry, protective holder can prevent future deterioration, particularly because steel core coins are more susceptible to environmental damage than earlier solid bronze issues. Building a collection around transitional years, first portrait releases, and well-graded examples can create a cohesive and potentially valuable set over time. The 1998 UK 2-pence coin in fine condition stands as a reminder that even modern decimal currency can attract attention and admiration when viewed through the lens of history, design, and preservation. What once paid for everyday essentials can now spark lively discussion among collectors who recognize its place in the evolution of British coinage. With growing demand, enthusiastic valuation conversations reaching into the thousands of dollars, and strong sentimental value, this small copper-colored coin proves that rarity is not always about age alone, but about condition, context, and collector passion. As interest in modern British coins continues to rise, the 1998 2-pence may well remain a shining example of how ordinary change can transform into a sought-after collectible treasure. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing world numismatic finds and rare UK coin discoveries.